Hey, welcome back to the Gear Garage. I'm here with my co-host, Aaron Cavagnolo. Thanks for being here today, Aaron.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
And we're here at a new location. This is the Arda Guidehouse on the Rogue River. It's actually their Southern Oregon Guidehouse because they do the Rogue in Illinois and the Klamath out here, I think. That's it, right? Okay. And for those of you that don't know about Arda, Arda is a non-profit rafting company that has 14 rivers all around the West. Aaron's guided for Arda for a long time. I've guided for them a little bit in the past, and just a really wonderful company with great people. And they're our host today here for this episode.
Thanks, Arda.
Yeah, thanks, Arda. And so today I have a topic for you, and I'm going to try to describe it well. I think last night I was listening to a podcast. There's the Hammer Factor podcast about... I just heard the first 20 minutes and I fell asleep. But there's a really interesting letter that was written about a guy to his son about the dangers of pushing yourselves farther and farther kayaking. And I know I had a phase where I was seeing myself pushing myself further, and I scaled back. And it's worth listening to, and I'm sure the whole episode is worth listening to. But I think a lot about danger and risk and what I'm willing to take. And I feel like my course in boating has changed from being adrenaline based, how hard can I push it, how big can I go, to exploratory, and more I want to go places where I'm not taking a lot of risks. But when I am taking a risk, it's to see somewhere really remarkable. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Totally.
Minimizing my amount of risk-taking, but using the sport of whitewater to go explore more. So I was thinking about that. We went paddling today, and I was thinking about that a lot, and how much I really like inflatable kayaks. And so my topic is how much I like inflatable kayaks. And basically, inflatable kayaks as an exploratory thing. This year I was going to get back into kayaking. That's my big thing, but I keep going inflatable kayaking. I keep being drawn to it. And today we use inflatable kayaks to do a pretty exploratory run.
Yeah.
It's maybe never been done. We don't know. And I thought there's some distinct advantages. One, we had to hike in about maybe half a mile. And so being able to just hike in, whether they're inflated or deflated, there were a lot of log portages. So getting up and over logs was way easier. And there was currents going into logs with no eddy, so being able to jump out of the boat into current really quick and do the portage was really easy. So I don't know. I'm starting to I keep finding myself doing inflatable kayaks, and I know you're into them too. Or am I right or am I wrong here?
Oh, they definitely have advantages. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like they're very comfortable to be in, and they're very easy getting out of, like you said. And they work well for multi-day trips too. You can take a lot of gear in them. Much more. I feel like I can live much more luxuriously out of an inflatable kayak or a Packraft, for that matter, than I can have a hard shell.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. I think the thing is, there's a stigma with inflatable kayaks though.
It's the moped of the river world. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and it's just not cool.
It's not cool at all.
But if you look at exploratory first descents, all the things have been done pretty much. Most of the things have been done. So if you want to start pushing the boundaries of first descent and exploring, that's leaving big hike-ins and rivers full of wood, basically, or low volume things that you're bouncing down with wood in them. It seems like the sport can be advanced with inflatable kayak. The sport of whitewater in general. Then what's left can be picked off by inflatable kayaking. Or am I just being too optimistic here?
Well, I think a lot can be picked off, and I think that's a lot of low-hanging fruit, as you would say. Also, they're just so convenient for traveling, too. Mm-hmm. Just throw it in your car, it takes up no space. You can take them on planes. You can fly overseas and go do a trip. Try to do it with a raft or a hard shell, and everyone knows that when we're trying to travel with either of those, that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So there's so many advantages to them, and I think when you talked to hit on a couple of key points, there's what's your goal? Is your goal to scare yourself? And then you could scare yourself in an inflatable kayak too, but hard shelling for sure, and hard shelling's super fun. Yeah, you can really break down a rapid. You're much more precise with it. But if your goal is to see new country, see new rivers, see new canyons, it's a fantastic way to do that.
Yeah, I really think it's it just keeps drawing me in, because that's my drive. And I live in Hood River, and a lot of people are kayaking the Green Trust and the Little White, and do those again and again, and it hasn't been that appealing to me. Like, I haven't been wanting to get my skills up to where I can go do that. It just hasn't been a draw, because there's like such like a pretty high amount of risk. Like, even if it's a medium amount of risk, it's so many repetitions in that risk. And
you're rolling the dice again, every time.
Yeah,
yep. And you're like, if I do this 100 times in a year.
Yeah. So there's a book. I think it's one about one of the Singpo, the first Singpo expedition that didn't end so well. And I think the book is Courting the Diamond Sow. And the guy writes, if you run a rapid and there's 1 in 100 chance you make a mistake, and then if you make a mistake, there's a 1 in 100 chance that mistake leads to a fatality. Every time you run a difficult rapid, there's a 1 in 10,000 chance that you could die. That's just math. If you just
totally.
Math.
Yep.
So then, if you boat just a handful of times, it's not likely you get to 10,000. But if you're doing it time after time and time again, you're going to get to 10,000. And that's in the back of my head. Like, I want to do things I'm very comfortable in, and when I take a risk, I want it to be for an objective.
Mm-hmm.
A place I really want to go, a thing I really want to see. And I'm willing to take a bigger risk because I'm not doing it often. And I don't know, I just this came up to me because I listened to this podcast last night, or the first 15 minutes of it, and it's a really great episode, and I'll have to show it to you. It's pretty cool. The Hammer Factor podcast, have you heard of it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's really good. Even if you're like, it's mostly for like hardcore kayakers, but as a mediocre kayaker, I like it too. It's entertaining. So the first 20 minutes of that, combined with us going in the inflatable kayaks today, which we chose over going hard shelling.
Mm-hmm.
I keep finding myself choosing the inflatables. I thought about that a lot today. So to sum things up, or the final question is, do we even try to make duckies cool? Or just accept that we're doing something that, like...
Put some flames on the sides of them?
Yeah. Is there any way to, like, make inflatable kayaks?
That I think that is the question. How to make inflatable kayaks cool.
Or do they need to be cool? Like, is it just my ego that needs them to be cool?
Oh, okay.
Like, when everybody's going, like, we're going to dope out of the truss, I'm like, they're cool. Like, those guys are cool. And gals. Right? And no, I'm cool. I'm going to go take my ducky over and run this. It hurts my ego is like, man, I'm not cool. Is it me needing to get over that cool thing? Or does the ducky need to change to be as cool as all the kayakers going to run the truss?
Well, I think actually, I'm gonna disagree with you here a little bit. I don't think duckies are that cool, but I think packrafts are cool.
Oh, jeez.
And so I think you got to call it a packraft first of all. Because packrafts are cool. Because people are doing badass stuff in packrafts.
Stop.
They're doing some nutty, crazy trips, hiking up huge passes, going so far. No. Packrafting is cool. Inflatable kayaking, duckying,
I shouldn't call it
not
ducky.
Cool.
They should be called inflatable kayaks. I'm hurting them by calling them duckies. But there's no way packrafts are cooler than duckies.
Oh, way cooler. Oh, come on.
Okay. We're just
First of all, you can store your gear inside a packraft.
No.
That makes it cool to begin with.
Here's the thing, though, Aaron. It's not about how utilitarian they are, because in that case, inflatable kayaks will win. It's certainly cool. Like let me put you in the scenario. All your friends are like, we're gonna go paddle the truss, and you're like, no, I'm gonna go pack raft this. That's not cool.
Packrafting's way cooler. You need to get with the program.
No, you're just making things up.
I think, and if you start talking about packrafting, I think you're going to get a lot more followers.
I
think a lot of people, the packrafting community is growing quickly. The inflatable kayaking community, not. Packrafting is really becoming cool. There's a lot of new companies producing packrafts now. People are taking packrafts all these places people couldn't go before. There's more than 2 new companies making packrafts.
3?
Well, I guess
that's not many. You're not selling me here.
How many new companies are making inflatable kayaks?
Like 7. It's more. I'm just saying it's more.
You're totally lying.
No, there's 7. I mean, Sotar.
7 new ones.
Oh, total. No, but there's 3 total making packrafts.
What are the 3?
Alpaca, Kokopelli, and NRS.
No. And then what about
Featherlight?
Featherlight? I guess they went out of business.
That's technically, and they're out of business.
Yeah, they went out of business.
Packrafts.
And then they call them a back. And what about the ones from that other company, Air?
That's a backraft. I don't know.
Backraft is a packraft.
It's an inflatable kayak. So here's.
Well, Wait, what's the difference? Okay, we got to talk. What's the difference between a pack raft? Maybe that's for another episode. The difference between an inflatable kayak and a pack raft.
Let's do this now. An inflatable kayak is a inflatable one-person boat.
Okay.
Designed for whitewater.
Okay.
And a pack raft is an inflatable one-person boat for crossing lakes. And they're moving towards each other.
Whoa!
Inflatable kayaks are getting lighter. Well, I mean, air is doing that, like other manufacturers.
Yeah, totally.
So the back raft is like an inflatable kayak, a whitewater boat made to get lighter. And then these pack raft companies are like, oh, people don't like to cross lakes. They also like to go down rivers too. So they're getting more like them, and they're going to meet somewhere in the middle.
I think they kind of have, Matt.
No. I mean, pack rafts are like inner tubes that are a little bit longer with big pointy ends, right? That they're not that much different. I mean, but they're adding self-bathing floors and things like that.
They've got better thigh straps in them than the duckies have in them, from what I've seen.
Okay, cool. I mean, thigh straps aren't a defining part of duckies to me. I gotta stop calling them duckies.
But that's not a high performance ducky. One for whitewater would have a thigh strap.
Okay, cool.
Maybe the ones that you're sitting out on the rogue, the ones that were the 8-year-olds paddling down.
I didn't use thigh straps today.
I didn't either, but let's be honest. We were jipping in and out the.
I just think that
wasn't even really. That was but a lot of people wouldn't even call that kayaking.
Okay, I would, but whatever. But like, what I'm saying is like the pack rafts are getting better for whitewater, and the whitewater kayaks are getting lighter. And I think that pack rafts, as they are going to move more towards inflatable kayaks, and inflatable kayaks are just going to get lighter. What? Every year I see new pack rafts. They're like a little bit longer. They're starting to have self-bathing floors. They're starting to have D-rings. They're getting closer and closer. I think pack rafts have that like pointed tail to keep them from back entering. And if you just make them a little bit longer, you can carry more stuff and get rid of that pointy tail.
You can carry so much stuff in a pack raft right now. You can carry more stuff in a pack raft than you can in a inflatable kayak.
Absolutely false. Like, you cannot make things up
how
on the
many
show.
Days
How many days? I want to apologize to listeners. We don't normally make things up.
How many days have you carried gear for in your inflatable kayak? How many day trip have you done out of an inflatable kayak? What's the longest trip?
Like 5, maybe.
Okay, I've done a 9-day out of the
That doesn't mean you can't.
And I brought food for 14. A 2-week trip with all my food.
No.
Running class 4.
Just because you've done more days doesn't mean you carry more stuff.
Running class 4.
Did you carry a Dutch oven? Because I did. I mean, I'm telling you, like, there is a fact. There is more volume.
I could have carried one if I wanted one.
Okay, there's more volume in the inflatable kayak. It's simply larger surface. So
it's more volume, but it's not functional volume.
I'm going to tell you my anecdotal story, Aaron. So we did at the Wanaha 2 air back rafts, 2 of your inner tubes, and the inner tube popped, and so I had to carry all the gear from the alpaca thing, right? And I did fine. But the alpaca people were barely able to carry their gear. They had their dry bags over their front, and they were bobbing up and down and struggling.
Well, alpaca I don't think makes the best whitewater pack rafts.
Okay.
But I think that Kokopelli is a much better craft.
The air back raft, which is like it's more like an inflatable kayak, can simply carry more stuff and perform better.
How much does it weigh?
10 pounds. Right. For a 10-foot boat.
That's good.
It's legit. But my point is that it's a bigger boat, hence it can carry more stuff.
I mean, that's anecdotal too. You're talking about one person driving one pack raft that got a hole in it.
Yeah. I started with anecdotal. I knew it was. But let's go back to just simple math, right?
Simple math.
Like length times width. With same width, when length is bigger, then it has more.
I think you're forgetting about a couple other things. Tube diameter is an important aspect of that too.
Okay.
And floor thickness is an important aspect on that too. Yeah. And so, I mean, it depends on the type of river you're running, too. If you're running the type of stuff that you're running, where you're hopping out and jumping over logs all the time, that might be the best craft. But if you're doing a higher volume river, like I said, on the rivers I've run, I've had no problems. But they're more rivers, less creeks. Mm-hmm. And you're doing, I think you're really using for a creaking, and you want a creaking pack raft.
I think I'd say, sounds true.
And so you're wanting a creaking pack raft. And I'm thinking more of as a river running pack raft.
So you're saying, like, let's say the Grand Canyon, for example, because everybody
it's more river running. Yeah.
You would rather have a pack raft than an inflatable kayak.
Yes, I'd rather have the Kokopelli than the back raft.
Okay, Because you claim it runs the river better with weight.
Can you roll your Packraft?
No.
You can roll the Kokopelli.
No, I can't roll your Kokopelli either.
Oh, you could.
No. I tried rolling a ducky the other day in a pool and people were laughing at me. I can't roll either.
Well, how were the thigh straps on it? Were there 4-point or 2-point thigh straps?
I don't even know what that means.
The 2-point are just at the two ends. The 4-point has like a couple other straps next to your knee to hold it in place.
Okay, cool.
And then you can drive it on. It's much more like a knee brace.
The problem with rolling in an inflatable kayak is they're just so wide. It's not the knee braces. It's just like so much boat to like flip over. So like when you get you have to get it up so high to flip it back.
It's so low performance
because of the large tubes.
It's so low performance.
And I think that it's just really the inflatable kayaks are wide with big tubes. It's just hard to get them all the way over. I think it's just like the geometry of the boat. But I think about inflatable, I don't think that rolling inflatable kayaks is like a thing. Like people, I get that you can do it, but have you ever done it in a combat situation like you would hard shell?
Well, I have never flipped, so I mean that's
I win.
Because you flipped?
No, I don't think that when you flip an inflatable kayak, you just swim, right? Like I know,
I think some people disagree with you. Well, in inflatable, you're right, in inflatable kayak, but not in a Packraft. That's why Packrafts are better.
And a Packraft. I don't know of any. I just don't. Everybody who says they can roll inflatable boats, like cool. I'm impressed, but I always ask, have you done it in like a situation in rapids? And they always say no. And so I just don't think like that's a thing that's I think rolling inflatable kayaks is like it's cool when you can do it in the flats, just as like an exercise. But I think in reality, it's not super practical. And actually, one of the reasons I like inflatable kayaks, I think, as I get older, I just don't like being beat down in holes in kayaks and being upside down in things. I'm just like, before it used to be fun, now getting beat down isn't very appealing, right? Whereas if I'm in an inflatable kayak, I just swim. I'm not, and I can just swim back to my boat and get in, and I don't have to do the whole pull the kayak to shore, empty it out thing. And so I think that's maybe why inflatable kayak's appealing to me. Is just like, and I don't mind swimming as much.
So I don't see the difference between that. How is that better than a Packraft?
Well, because I don't see myself rolling a Packraft either. Like when I'm in a Packraft,
I'll have that option. And I'm just saying it's more high performance. You can put it on edge better. You can just do a lot more to keep it upright. Like that's the thing is like, let's be honest. In certain rivers, you're going to be easier to stay upright in a hard shell than you are in an inflatable kayak to this day. A little bit higher volume.
Sure. For sure.
And I think that the Packraft, it has that same higher performance, and that's my argument of being able to roll it is also I feel like that comes to the performance of it, and your ability to brace into stuff and keep yourself upright because you do have that control with those thigh braces that you don't have in the inflatable kayak, which is more like a raft. I feel like.
Okay, so I think we need to end this because we're about to go in circles.
Oh, dude, we've been going for a long time. Yes.
And I think here's what I think. I think I need to try, like I've tried an alpaca and it was fun. I think I need to try the one that you like, the Kokopelli. Just so I base all of this on just me, like my basic knowledge and no experience. So I'm just like talking what I think. And like a lot of things, people like what they have and they're used to. I'm very attached to Air Packraft. I'm bought into the brand. And so I'm very defensive of it. And I think I need to try that boat. And so I have more information. And it'd be fun for us to get out and do both the boats and try them out and
compare. Yeah.
Because like I'm attached to my Packraft, you're attached to your Kokopelli, and I think the answer is going to probably end up being in between.
Well, and I do like the Packraft. Like when I've used it, I like it. I like a lot for those technical creaky stuff.
Yeah.
And I haven't taken the Kokopelli out in that yet. And I'll tell you the truth, I'm a little nervous because I'm worried about putting a hole in it. Maybe it will be a problem. Maybe it won't.
Yeah.
It might hold up. It might hold up grip. I don't know because I haven't used it in that ring. But and the Packraft does seem to have some pretty thick material and it's pretty substantial for running those types of rivers. So.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's a lot of other people out there who probably have great ideas and a lot of information that they could add to this.
Yeah.
So
cool. Please add on. And if you have ever rolled an inflatable anything in whitewater, let me know. I want to know that that's happened in the world ever. Or if you have a friend that has, be like, oh yeah, I've seen it. I've heard about it happening. I just don't believe it's a thing. But you could prove me wrong, and I'd love to know that. So please add that in. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for Arda for being a great host. Thanks, Aaron, for being here. And
thank you, Zach. A lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye. We're starting.
We can start in a second. Are you tired? I feel like...
Do we need a little music intro here?
Can you make music happen?